Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans of rappers and live national anthems at MMA events. Little inside joke for the boys there. Welcome. Episode number 47 of the Run Back Podcast coming into your ears this fortnight. We've got a couple of special guests on, a bit of local flavour again this fortnight. So before I give too much away, DL, how are we?
Snags, I'm good. Mate, Statman's done it to us again. He's gone and scheduled work ahead of the potty. 2 episodes in a row now.
Unacceptable.
Snags, do we need to sit this boy down or what?
Well, mate, you gave him an annual leave pass the other week. This week's just a formal discussion, I think.
I think so. And Snags, you're probably wondering if you're going to get a call up for the stats. Incorrect.
Got sacked after one episode.
We did actually get a quote directly from one of our listeners. Uninspiring, uninformative, and silly.
What? That's the stats I was going for.
Mate, absolutely. It come through on the DMs, and unfortunately, might have been from the stat man. It's hard to tell. And big episode. We're going to dive into UFC 261. We're also going to spend some time locally on an event hitting the streets of Melbourne in the coming weeks. But before we jump into that podcast, I better introduce the man across from me at the desk, Stoney. What's good?
DL, good to be here, mate. Big week for the Aussies in the UFC. Gets to run it back up and about as always. I would say big shoes to fill, filling in for the stat man, but I think we've well and truly got it covered this week. So who have we got, Sugar Snags?
Look, we've got the 2 godfathers of Australian MMA, as I like to say. Benny Vickers and Cam O'Neill. Ben, how are you?
I'm good, and I must point out I have really small shoes. 'Cause I'm a very small person.
What size are we talking?
8, size 8.
8? Oh, Snag's got one thing over you, that's for sure. I'm a size 9, baby.
Let's not try the next thing out either.
Keep that one in the pants though, boys. Cam, welcome to the podcast, mate. How are you?
Size 12.
Flexing the muscle early, boys. Flexing the muscle early.
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having us on. Yeah.
Mate, size 12 versus size 8. That's why you got to start in the Book of Stags. I actually went off shoe size, who I would put in there. So apologies, boys.
Boys, before we jump too far into the podcast, we need to thank our sponsors. Humble Fightwear is an Australian jiu-jitsu brand that celebrates one of the most important parts of martial arts, becoming humble. Snags.
That's right. Humble like a size pair 12 of shoes, that's for sure. But look, brand's super passionate about jiu-jitsu, obviously, in the MMA game. So love to have them in. Stoney, where can we find the gear?
Snags, if you don't know by now, you damn well should. Head to their Instagram page and give them a follow, or go to www.humblefightwear.com.au and help them spread the good vibes, one purchase at a time.
And for being amazing Run It Back listeners, the legends at Humble Fightwear are giving you 15% off their entire order. Snags, how do they get that?
Look, super easy as per usual. Code word RIB15 at checkout, and boys hooking out with 15% off, deal.
Nice. Let's jump into the podcast, boys, with a bit of Rib Family Feud.
Oh, Jesus. I've roped the Eternal boys into this, so I do apologise to you two. But last week was the first episode of RIB Family Feud, and went off without a hitch, which usually a segment with Snags doesn't really do that. So, boys, if you haven't played before or seen the show, what's going to happen is we're going to team the RIB boys up this week. So DL and Stoney, and then Ben and Cam are on the team. So I'll give you boys some buzzers. So we'll go the flavour. So DL and Stoney, your buzzer's just going to be Run It Back. You want to give it a test for me?
Run It Back.
Yep, easy. And then obviously Cam and Ben, easy one for you boys, just Eternal.
Can we say Australia's premier MMA event instead of Eternal?
Yeah, you can if you want. It's a long buzzer, but I'm in for it. I don't know.
We'll stick with Eternal.
I'll add it in after you say it then, okay?
Let's keep it nice and simple. Timomatic.
We're still throwing bubs. Okay. You boys got Timomatic, and DL Stoney, you got Run It Back, okay? Should get the big man on the podcast one day. So we've got there's only one round every week, so winner takes all. So what will happen is I ask the question, and then I've surveyed 100 people in the streets of Australia that have come up with, I've given you boys 15 answers this week, because last week boys had a doozy. Yeah. So whoever buzzes in first and gets the first correct answer, the highest up, gets the choice to either play the game and you got to get 3 right to win, or you can pass it to the other boys. So you get 2 incorrect answers, and then you're out of the game. Make sense? I'll guide you boys along as we go.
Does make sense. But before we get started, Sugar Snags, I just want to warn the boys, Ben, Cam, you're playing against someone who has never lost in the history of this game. I've never dropped a set. So please bring your A game.
It's only been 1 week.
You've not lost either.
All right, so we've kept it local, considering we've got Australia's premier event and MMA promotion on the podcast this fortnight. So we've kept it obviously in tune with MMA and in tune with local MMA as well. So boys, the question for the week. Name something that comes to your mind when you think about local Australian MMA.
Run back.
MMA.
Okay.
That's the answer too.
Not yet. Stody, you're first.
I'm thinking the mayor of Bacchus Marsh, Jack Jenkins.
Oh, the mayor.
I'd be going a bit of Jackie Jenkins. I love a bit of vice mayor of Bacchus Marsh here, boys, and even though I'm not from there, but that is correct. It actually is number 2 on my list. I rate the boy highly, obviously. Cam and Ben, you got a chance here to take top spot or get one right. Is there anything from you boys?
I think they've done their 100-person survey in Bacchus Marsh, Ben.
I heard there's only 100 there.
Come up with the number 1 answer. It could be Snags.
It's not. Look, I don't self-promote, boys, that's for sure. It's definitely not Snags.
I'm going to take the Pavilion in Melbourne. That's what they have.
The Pavilion is correct. I did get the Pavilion in there. Obviously, big event coming up, boys. May 7th.
Awesome.
Boom, boom.
So that's 1 point. 2 more to go and you win the round. The boys might not even get a leg in here. Stoney.
DL, I'm going to go Australia's premier fighting organisation, Eternal MMA.
This sounds like it's rigged, but that was actually number 1. I can't believe Cam Ben didn't say that
We
one.
did.
But
We're not self-promoters.
mate, makes 2 of us, boys. Makes 2 of us. Good. I'm going to run through the list for you, okay? So we had John Fraser at number 15, obviously dominant performance lately. We had UFC Fight Pass because I thought someone just might get that considering Eternal's on there. Cam chucked in Proving Grounds Fight League, obviously up-and-coming promotion. Small plug there.
Smart.
HBF Stadium in Perth, Gold Coast, May 7th. I thought I'd just put a random one in there for the date.
Good.
I put Run It Back Locals Only, DL.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Sounds good. Give 'em a plug.
Dimps was number 8. Scrappy MMA was number 7. Boys, got to get the self promote. Josh Canoe was number 6. Melbourne Pavilion number 5. Run It Back Podcast number 4. And then I put Ben Vickers at number 3 because I left him out of the book of Snags.
Could have been number 1, mate.
Then we obviously had
3.
the mayor of Bacchus Marsh, Jack Jenkins himself, and then Eternal MMA number 1. So, boys, that was the list. This was answers coming out of everywhere.
Okay.
All right, well, it's been lovely talking to you lot.
My answers were going to be 4 hours drinks package, Sugar Snags, and a night out with the boys. That's the 3 things that come to mind straight away.
Mate, they're all on my mind 24/7, but I decided not to chuck them in this fortnight. Oh, boys, thanks for playing.
As we predicted, the fight went 5 rounds. Whittaker and Calvin Gastelum. Whittaker was a little bit busted up, but nothing to the level that Calvin did to Izzy. After the fight, Rob called for a rematch back in Australia at a full capacity stadium. This is a 3-part question, boys. Do we like the rematch? Where do you have it? And what would you add to the co-main of that fight to ensure a full stadium?
Yes, we have the rematch. Where do we have it? I've been calling for a bloody main event in Tasmania for ages, boys. I'll stay true to that one. And co-main, we have Beebs versus Tom Cruise, obviously. So
We'll have all 12 people related to each other in Tasmania attending.
No, 100% DL. We've been calling for this one for a while. Anyone who's familiar with Tool of the Week would have heard this fight has been contentious for a little while, and I don't know why. But now with Darren Till, Jared Cannonier and Calvin Gastelum, I think there's no doubt whatsoever this is the fight that has to happen. Would love to see the rematch in Melbourne. I think it drew the biggest gate ever, UFC 243. Who would you put as co-main? Now, it feels like adding insult, but we've got another Aussie who's got a champ. Do you make it a double championship pay-per-view, sell it out, get the good numbers? Who knows? Just saying.
Yep. I like it. Ben, Cam?
I'm keen for the rematch. I think he's definitely earned the rematch. I'm interested in it. After stayed in Perth, Jack Della co-main event.
Look huge. Cam?
Yeah, the rematch. Keen for the rematch. Let's do it back at Marvel, and let's put Vittori versus somebody in the co-main just in case we get a dropout. Marvin can step up.
Good call.
Nice. Wait, perfect chance. We've got UFC 261 coming up that we're doing picks for. And the good man, Statman, has provided us with some stats so we can avoid ourselves from Sugar Snag stats. You don't have any stats for you this week, Sugar?
Nah, I've left them in the bank, boys.
Oh, good work.
I actually come across Sugar's notes from the fight. If you drop the R out of Jimmy Crute's surname, it's Jimmy Cute, and I thought that was pretty fun.
That's actually really good.
You're a fucking idiot.
I'm keeping that in the potty. All right, boys, we might jump into our prediction for UFC 261. The Statman's provided us with a little support.
All right, guys, it is the Statman here. I've missed you, boys. I decided after the disgrace that was Snag Stats last podcast, I thought I would swing back into the rescue with some stats of my own. God, I hope that Snag still has some stats for you boys. It was one of the most entertaining parts of the podcast last week. We are heading to UFC 261. We've got the entire main card ahead of us, and we are starting with a bit of Australian flair. Anthony Smith versus Jimmy Crute in the light heavyweight division. Whenever he is prepping for a fight, you can normally find Jimmy Crute near the gym. If he's not inside training, Crute can be found sleeping in his modified van, parked in the gym car park, with his American Pitbull sleeping companion. Crute says that he prefers it to paying bills and paying rent, and is a firm believer in the van life situation.
That sounds like a Snag stat.
I'm going to give you a tip. Don't break into that fucking van.
I mentioned someone did. Pitbull and Jimmy Crute. No, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know which one would be more dangerous.
Look, off the back of that, I hope Anthony Smith doesn't have another invader this time and doesn't break in the other way to Jimmy Crute's van. We're going to take Jimmy Crute for the win here pretty easily, I think, boys. On a tear lately, and going to see the Aussie get it done.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm a massive Jimmy Crute fan. I think he's got all the tools, and he's still young, and he's still learning. He's still getting better. Smith is tough and durable. I mean, Glover Texera. Was it the Texera fight? What was the fight that went on for a bit longer than probably should have? And there was that contentious corner non-pull-out. The corner stoppage. People were calling for the corner stoppage.
Yeah. When he's coming out.
I think he can take a bit of punishment. I think he's going to take Jimmy a couple of rounds to put him away, but I think Jimmy puts him away.
We head into our first of 3 title fights. We've got the Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Andrade fight for the women's flyweight title. Just 1 month after her 15th birthday, Valentina Shevchenko would make her professional MMA debut against a much older Eliza Ada. Shevchenko has showcased even earlier fights on her Twitter account, including what appears to be a professional kickboxing bout between the then 14-year-old Shevchenko getting a hand raised over her 25-year-old opponent, as well as some undocumented evidence that her first victory in combat sports came by way of knockout at just age 12 over her 21-year-old opponent.
What? 12 versus 21? That fucking can't be correct.
It was correct.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll take Shevchenko round 1 KO if that's the case. Fuck me. My daughter's almost about to turn 10. I might chuck her in the cage, please.
Look, 100% agree with Snags. Let's go Shevchenko round 1 TKO.
Valentina, first round, TKO strikes, KO, something. You know, when KO are clean, she's going to get pulled off of her. So,
Yeah. She's crazy.
And then Casey will put her to sleep in about 18 months.
Fucking hell, wouldn't we be up and about when that happens?
I bet the stat man would tip against her.
Oh, man. He'd be dead off the podcast for
Wouldn't
life,
he?
mate.
Oh, I do apologise to the stat man, obviously listening along and cringing at all the little jabs thrown his way. From the USA all the way to Australia, we've got Eternal 59 happening in Melbourne on the 7th of May. Now, boys, we're in Perth in Feb. We're in the Gold Coast for the double header in March. Now, it seems like a rhetorical question, but how has the year been?
Fuck, you know. Interesting. Yeah. It's just so hard with all these government rules and regulations and stuff. But as far as Eternal's gone, the shows we have put on have been amazing. Like, we're really, really happy with, one, the standard of MMA in this country at the grassroots level and sort of the way the matches have come together. And, you know, the last show, to beat the last show is going to take a lot of doing. But there's some potential on that card to do that. But, yeah, Eternal 58 sort of set the benchmark for the year so far.
Yeah, it's been a cracking year so far. There was obviously the disappointment in Melbourne at the end of January, obviously with travel restrictions out at the hotspot, which was Brisbane and Queensland at the time. But we're just now at the start of April, and we've already caught that show back up. Just with the way our scheduling goes, we're able to keep all the athletes satisfied and move them up to the Gold Coast in March. Coming off the back of the huge event in Perth in February, and we roll on to Melbourne. You know, we might be disappointed the peeps down there in January, but we're down there again, you know, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks time, and we'll be down there another couple of times this year. But yeah, we've got some fantastic fights in the Eternal 59 card. Sean Etchell and Sam Hibbard, the main event's obviously going to be one to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely huge. And little history, boys. What's some of your memories from some of the Eternal events in Melbourne previously?
Well, the first time I went to Melbourne, I had 3 guys on the card, 2 title fights, and Mini T sort of opened the show. I walked away with 3 wins. So I like the pavilion. You know, Jack defended his title in spectacular fashion, and Mitch Martin had a war to end all wars with Ben Watson. And came away with a decision, well deserved. So yeah, I have awesome memories of the pavilion, and it's a spectacular venue to put MMA fights on.
I've got a few memories of Melbourne last night down there. One of them that I'll just kind of skim over the top of, which would be getting to the end of what was, you know, quite
Casey's weight cut.
Casey's weight cut. Jesus Christ. Yeah, we won't get into that one. It'll take too long. But I'll come to the end of what was a huge night, and then being confronted by a very drunk individual that proceeded to cause half an hour's worth of mayhem in front of everybody will stick with me for a long time. And going back to pull the cage down the next morning with Ben and a couple of other people that helped us, and just chatting about the night before, and then some extra hands turned up. You know, Mitch Martin, who'd fought the night before, Dan Williams, who'd fought the night before, and Casey, who'd fought the night before, all turned up and pulled the cage down with us on Sunday morning.
Della never turned up. He big timed us, didn't he?
Yeah, he was already on the show best hat.
But yeah, no, that was great to see the fighters come and help us pull the cage down the next day. It just goes to show like the level of care and stuff they have for the promotion. And yeah, we really appreciate stuff like that. So anyone else who wants to help us bring the cage down next weekend.
Snags might be there, boys. You never know. Mate, huge event coming up. Obviously, the boys are absolutely pumped about it. We were extremely disappointed when January rolled around and the whole COVID fuck around. But mate, we're pumped to have one in our hometown. But some big fights. I think we've got six pro fights on the card for the night.
Maybe 7. We're adding, not including the Beebs and Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to have another fight as we speak, which would be an amazing local fight. Hopefully, we'll have word on that tomorrow and get that announced. But yeah, the fight, we've got Kev Gisette Jusei, should I say, coming in from City Kickboxing to fight Saeed Fatahifa from Sydney. So that is going to be an amazing welterweight sort of number one contender sort of level clash. And then you got one of my boys, Rod Costa, taking on Khan Offley, which is we're gonna be treated to some serious grappling in that fight. I would suggest.
Sure. Or is it Sean's coming off the back of the win from the tournament, and he's facing up the champion against Sam? What's that fight?
Sean didn't fight. No, Justin Van Eerden pulled out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Justin missed weight. Trent.
Justin missed weight. Trent Gurdon pulled out. Yeah. You get so confused. Like, why can't people just turn up and have a fight? I don't understand it. Maybe I'm a bit old school, but when you sign a contract, you're supposed to rock up and fight at the end of it. That's what I always thought. But people are sensitive these days, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Sean Etchell rocked up, made weight, and didn't get to fight, which is disgraceful, really. But he will get his chance. He'll fight Sam. And yeah, I'm sure he'll be extremely motivated and hungry after the disappointment of the last time.
Do you boys get to like pick who, like you got a vision into? You're obviously not going to say it on the potty, but do you know who's going to, you tip for the winners, especially for the big fights?
I always think we have half a clue, but it never works out. I'm terrible at picking fights. Don't ever follow my picks. I'm terrible.
Is there one of those matchups where you're just like, hey, come along for this fight? Like, I know you just said that before, Ben, but like you said, there's a couple of wars brewing there and a grappling match that's going to be next level. But is there a fight?
You know what's going to be good is Lisa Kiriaki's making her pro debut against Jacinta Austin. So, that's going to be a good fight because Lisa brings it, and Jacinta's a very experienced striker. I expect fireworks in that one, and I love women's MMA, so I'm really expecting to see some. And it's hard to get hold of good pro female matches these days, so I'm really excited about that fight.
Yeah, we had her on our locals only content this week, and one of the things that we asked Lisa was, who do you want to fight next? And she was just like, whoever wants to fight me. And she laughs a little bit just at the end of it, and there was this little bit of evilness, a little bit of it's going to go down in her voice just through that laugh. I liked it, so that's got me pumped, that one.
Cam, what's the lead up look like for you and Benny? Obviously, there's a fair bit that goes in to get the event up and going. How's the next couple of weeks look for you boys? Is it just all hands on deck, or you kind of home and hosed?
Yeah, we're matching 3 shows at the moment. Yeah. So,
shit.
It's hectic. It's hectic, but it all just melds into one, really. And yeah, we're flying into Melbourne on the Tuesday, so be boots on the ground from Tuesday, and we're bringing a decent sized team with us this time, so should be a little less hectic than the last time we were there. But look, our life 365 24/7, we're at it, making fights, flying around. Like I've literally just arrived back from the sunny coast, and yeah, we're straight back into it. There's no even while we're away, we're sort of working away on these fights. It's just it's a vicious circle. It just goes round and round and round. We keep telling ourselves we're going to have a month off, and then we just put something else in there.
It must be at least 4 or 5 years that we treated it like that, where we were going from show to show. It probably went from going to show to being 365 days a year and full weeks of work. Now it's just what we do. It's like of every single day. It doesn't matter where you are or who you're with. You've got your phone in your pocket. You've usually got access to your laptop within seconds. We're just working constantly. It makes things easier and it makes things harder. We'll start putting in good processes and procedures, and things just roll from show to show. Ben says we're bringing a decent team with us to Melbourne, but we're building that team round about us at home as well. We've got some fantastic people round about us all the time now. So yeah, it's tough and there's a lot to do, but every other promoter in the country is in the same boat. 3 weeks out from event, we shouldn't have to feel special just because we do so many shows.
Yeah,
it's not very family friendly, as you can see. Like I live in here.
No, 100%, Cam. I remember you did an interview with Fight News Australia just after the Gold Coast one. It said two events back to back. Have you recovered? And you said the only recovery I've got is being able to sleep in to 10 a.m. on Monday. And such is the life of a promoter. I remember Charles Sonnen talking about he was down in Brazil filming an episode of The Ultimate Fighter, and Dana White texted him at something like 2 a.m. American time in the morning saying, "Hey, you keen for this fight?" And that's just it, isn't it? You start to live this sport and the phone's always on, and that's just the nature of it.
Yeah, I remember that phone call when Chael was telling the story about that phone call. And Chael says to him, what are you doing up at this time? Dana apologised to him because he thought it was him that was up late, but he was really meaning about the time that Dana was up. It was like 4 a.m. he was phoning him. But no, that's the same. I think Ben will tell you the exact same, and most promoters will. You pick up your phone at any minute of any day and there's a message or a phone call that you've missed or still to return. It's just that we return a lot more of them than the other people at the moment, so we are constantly on our phones, we're constantly travelling, we're constantly working. And that's a good thing, because these other guys are out doing other jobs, whereas we're getting to put the time into something that we wanted to do.
Is having 3 cards planning for, is that kind of the most you guys have looked in the future for cards at this present time?
Yeah. 3's about like normal, because we'd have like a cycle of 3 shows, try and have a bit of time off.
Yep.
Not necessarily, we wouldn't have any time off, but time off having a physical show, but still preparing for the next three shows concurrently. But when it's Perth, Gold Coast in that 3, generally I'll just take care of Perth and Cam will just take care of the Gold Coast. So it's kind of like doing 2 and then having a little bit of input on the ones interstate, if we're looking for opponents for people out of state and stuff like that.
Yep.
So for me, it never seems to stop. It's just a constant, which is great because I love it. Like I'm fully immersed in the sport. I don't want to do anything else. I run a gym. I've got fighters. I'm 24/7 knee deep in this sport, and there's nothing else I'd rather do.
What's Snags got to do to get Jack Jenkins, Dem Skilly, and Jack Della all to Melbourne for us to watch? Talk to me, boys. I'm open to offers. What do you need?
Jack Della might struggle.
Unless it's September.
Is that
it won't be in Melbourne.
Come on, boys.
Yeah, look, people may have missed the boat to watch Jack in Australia. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go. Okay. Cool. Keep our lips tight on that one.
But the other boys, you got a pretty good chance sometime this year of that happening.
Where do we get tickets to this fight? And how's the lead up going? And what's the hype around it leading in?
We're sending everybody these days just to the website, eternalmma.com. The last couple of months, we decided to start taking the website seriously, so it's kept up to date. And there's live ticket links there that you can purchase straight to Eventbrite via the website. So go that way. The lead up's good. It's a tight little card in Melbourne. We like the shorter show because it's a Friday night. We've got to start it a little bit later so people can get there from work. We've got to finish at a decent time. People don't want to be there all night. So we've got a nice little short card. It's good fights on it. Some really good fighters. A couple of the divisions have got possibility of contenders coming out of this card as well. And Melbourne being the sporting capital of Australia, we've only been there once since October 2019. We're trying to get that back a lot more often. It'll just be good to get this show in the books.
Boys, thank you so much. We're going to jump back into our picks. UFC 261. We've got 2 fights left. Let's go to the stat man.
Moving into our co-main event, we have a women's strawweight title fight between Weili Zhang and Rose Namajunas. With the retirement of Khabib Nurmagomedov, Weili Zhang now holds the longest active win streak in the UFC and the 3rd longest active win streak in all of MMA. Only Bellator fighter Yaroslav Amosov, 25-0, and WWFC fighter Hussein Ashkabov, 22-0, currently outpace Weili Zhang's 21-fight run.
Oh, that's finished. Look, I really want to take Doug Rose, but I'm not going to take Weili Zhang just off the performance she had last time. I think she gets it done. Do we have to pick a finish for this one?
We do.
I'm going to take I'm just going to take a decision to be safe, but I don't think it'll go to decision. I'm all over the shop for this one, boys. I'm sorry.
I'll take a decision, but I don't think it's going to go to a decision.
I don't want to pick against Snug Rose.
What is that?
But I'm not going to do a DL and pick Tyron like a Tyron Woodley pick. So
Right.
I'm going to go Weili Zhang by decision.
Oh, you really wanted to say.
DL, our champion, ladies and gentlemen. Weili, in my opinion, is just a better all-round fighter than Rose. She hits harder, she's more athletic and more explosive. Legit knockout artist, DL. Thug Rose might have a technical advantage in the boxing, but overall I think Weili's got more tools in the arsenal to inflict damage on Rose than vice versa. So I'm picking, unlike Sugar Snag sitting on the fence, TKO round 3.
Wait, Ben, give us a tip for Weili Zhang versus Rose Namajunas.
Fuck communism. Thug Rose on one.
It's perfect.
That's the best.
I love it. We just jumped into the main, so I'm actually going to take Usman by decision. I like how Statman broke that down. I think that has a lot of weight in that, and Kamaru Usman has been super impressive. The Nigerian boys are on an absolute run. Now we have Francis Ngannou as a champion, and I think Francis is going to corner Kimura. So I think they vice versa in the last one. So I think you'll see big Francis Ngannou in Kimura's corner. So I'm going to take Kamaru Usman by decision against Jorge. I think he'll make him earn it. He'll make him feel it. Ben,
Do you think having him in the corner is going to help him? I made a big thing about that, so I don't know if that was part of your
honestly, I think people feed off other people's energy. I think if you have the right people around you, it's always going to make you better.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate the compliment.
I was going to say, what happened to your podcast?
Going the other way.
That's how me and Cam do so well, you see. I think Usman might stop him this time.
Usman, 4th or 5th round TKO, just going to wear him down and get pulled off of him.
Yeah.
With or without Francis. But the thing is, if Francis is in the corner, will anybody else fit in there?
He's a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. Ben, do you not think it matters who's in your corner sometimes?
I don't think Francis Ngannou's adding a lot to the corner.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's only just learned how to fight.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, he looked incredible his last time out, but before that, he just looked powerful. He really looks like he's learned how to fight now, which is terrifying. But I don't think he's going to add much to the corner. I think Trevor Whitman will do all right on his own.
Yeah. Trevor Whitman.
But your corner definitely does matter. You know, maybe I was being a bit flippant. Wouldn't be the first time, would it, Cam? But no, it definitely does matter who's in your corner. But I don't know what Ngannou brings.
Yeah, it doesn't know what he adds.
I'll translate it for you. It really does matter who's in your corner. Ben thinks Francis Ngannou is fucking clueless.
I hope I never meet him.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing.
I was going to say, DL, maybe even if he doesn't say a single word, just walking out with Francis behind you makes you walk a little bit taller.
Yeah.
Look, if I walked out just by myself against Sugar Snags, I think I'd win a close fought decision. Put Conor McGregor in the background, and I think I'll take him done in one. So I think it does matter, DL.
I'd rip your little legs off, mate.
Let's start this again. We've got guests.
Sorry.
We enjoy it. We can make the fight.
You guys want an exhibition
We are
fight?
open.
The run it back, boys.
We'll do it on Triller.
Boys, that rounds out the podcast. We thank Cam and Ben for our special guests for jumping on the whole show. Boys, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been great. I've enjoyed it. I enjoy listening to the show, so it's nice to be a part of it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. That wraps up episode 47. If you like what we're doing, please like, share, comment, or subscribe to the podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast even further, you can jump on and grab one of our supporter tees at our online store. I'm producer DL.
Dude, we forgot to give the biggest shout out ever. May 7th, biggest fights in Australia. Eternal MMA. biggest promotion here as well.
Can I just say one thing
the boys.
before we end?
Benny, go.
Congratulations to Jack Becker for getting his self back in the winning column after having been out of the game for a couple of years. And a very good fight against a very good opponent in Aiden Aguilera. Well done, Jack.
Beautiful. Good
Nice
job.
little shout out there as well. May 7th, get the tickets. Boys, will see you there. We're super excited. And my name's Snags, I guess. Thanks for listening this fortnight.
And my name is not the Statman DL. I am Stoney.
And we'll run it back with you all on the next Run It Back podcast.